The girl who can. Ama eta I do. They say that I was born in Hasod-Z, Hasodzi, and it is very big village in the central region of our country, Ghana. They also say that when all of Africa is not choking under a drought, Hasodzi lies in a very fertile lowland in a district known for its good soil. যখন গোটা সেন্ট্রাল রিজিয়ন অফ এই হ্যাসর্জি হচ্ছে একটা সেন্ট্রাল ভেরি স্মল ভিলেজ ইন দ্য সেন্ট্রাল রিজিয়ন অফ ঘানা, এটা ওরা বলে যে যখন গোটা আফ্রিকাতে ড্রট চলে, when all of Africa is choking under a drought, Hassorzi lies in a very fertile land in a district known for its good soil. Hassorzi একটা very fertile lowland এ আছে, যেই জায়গাটা known for its good soil, যেই ডিস্ট্রিক্টটা. Maybe that is why any time I don't finish eating my food, মেবি দ্যাট ইজ ওয়াই, সেই জন্যই আই ডোন্ট ফিনিশ ইটিং মাই ফুড, আমি কখনোই খাওয়া আমার মানে শেষ হয় না, মানে খাবার সবসময় থাকে. নানা সেজ ইউ অ্যাট জোয়া ডোন্ট নো হোয়াট লাইফ ইজ অ্যাবাউট, ইউ ডোন্ট নো হোয়াট প্রবলেমস দেয়ার আর ইন দিস লাইফ. নানা ওর মানে গ্র্যান্ড মাদার. অ্যাজ ফার অ্যাজ আই কুড সি দেয়ার ওয়াজ অনলি ওয়ান প্রবলেম. এখন পর্যন্ত ওর একটাই প্রবলেম ছিল, and it had nothing to do with what I knew Nana considered as problems or what Mami thinks of as the problem. Mami is my mother. Nana is my mother's mother. And they say I'm 7 years old. And my problem is that at the 7 years of age, there are things I can think in my head, but which maybe I don't have the proper language to speak them with. But not enough skill to articulate her views. She has the capability of thinking, but not enough skill to articulate her views. I think a very serious problem, because it is always difficult to decide whether to keep quiet. সবসময় এটা মুশকিল বোঝা যে কখন চুপ করে থাকতে হবে, not to say anything of things that come into my head, or say them and get laughed at. Not say any of the things that come into my head, or say them and get laughed at. Not that it is easy to get any grown up to listen to you, even when you decide to take the risk and say something serious to them. Not that it is easy, এটাও সোজা না, to get any grown up to listen to you, কোনো grown up যে তোমার কথা শুনবে, even when you decide to get the risk, we decide to take the risk and say something serious to them, যখন তোমরা কিছু সিরিয়াসও তাদেরকে বলবে. মানে কখনো গ্রোন আপ তোমার কথা শান্তিতে শুনবে না, even when you say something serious to them. এই যে not that it is easy to get any grown up to listen to you, কোনো grown up কে তোমার কথা শোনানো এত সোজা না. when you decide to take the risk and say something serious to them, রিস্ক নিয়ে যখন তোমরা কিছু সিরিয়াস এটা বলবে, তখন এটা এক্সপেক্ট করো না যে তারা শুনবে ভালো করে তোমার কথা. Take Nana first. I have to struggle to catch her attention. Nanaর attention পাওয়ার জন্য আমাকে প্রচুর struggle করতে হয়. Then I tell her something that had taken a long time to figure out. যেইটা অনেক সময় লাগলো আমার চিন্তা করতে, সেইটা আমি তাকে বলি. And then you know what always happens? She would once stop whatever she is doing and press her mouth, stare at me for a very long time, then bending and turning her head slightly so that one ear comes down towards me, she'll say in that voice, at Joa, you say what? After I repeated whether I have whatever I had said, she would either still in that voice ask never, never, but never to repeat that, or she would immediately burst out laughing. হয় বলবে আর জীবনেই কথাটা বলবে না, আর তা নাহলে হা 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 করে হাসতে লাগিয়ে দেবে. She would laugh and laugh and laugh until tears ran down her cheeks, and she should stop whatever she is doing and wipe away the tears with hanging edges of her claw. হাসতে হাসতে চোখ দিয়ে জল বেরিয়ে যাবে, তারপর মুছতে থাকবে সেই জল. And she would continue laughing until she is completely tired. But then as soon as another person comes by, just to make sure she doesn't forget whatever I said, she would repeat it to her. যে অন্য কেউ আসবে আর জিজ্ঞেস করবে আমি কি বলেছি, তখন সে ওই অ্যাট জোয়া এই নানা সবগুলো তাকে বলে দেবে, and then of course there would be two old people laughing and screaming with tears running down their faces, এবং তখন আবার দুজন মিলে হাসবে আর চোখ দিয়ে জল বেরোবে তাদের। Sometimes this show continues until there are three, four, or even more of such laughing and screaming tear-faced grown-ups. এটা চলতেই থাকবে যতক্ষণ না তিন চার আর আরো বেশি লোক একসাথে হাসতে আর স্ক্রিম করতে আর টিয়ার শেড করতে লেগে যাবে। And all their performance on whatever I said, I find something quite confusing in all this. That is, no one ever explains to me why should sometimes I should repeat some things I say, while at other times some other things I would not only be all right but should be considered so funny they would be repeated so many times for so many people's enjoyment। কি বলছে? No one ever explains to me কেন sometimes I shouldn't repeat some things I say, কোনো কোনো কথা কেন আমি আর কখনোই রিপিট করব না, এটা সবাই আমাকে কেন বলে, while at other times some things I would say not only be all right, কিছু কিছু কথা শুধু সত্যি হয় এমন না বা ঠিক হয় এমন না, বাট কনসিডার্ড টু বি সো ফানি দে উড বি রিপিটেড সো মেনি টাইমস ফর সো মেনি পিপলস এনজয়মেন্ট। আবার এমন কখনো কখনো কি এমন ঠিক কথা বলে দিই যে সে এত লোককে বলা হয় আর সেটাকে এত ফানি বলে কনসিডার করা হয়। ইউ সি হাউ নিদার ওয়ে অফ হিয়ারিং মি আউট ক্যান এনকারেজ মি টু এক্সপ্রেস মাই থটস টু অফেন। সি হাউ নিদার ওয়ে অফ হিয়ারিং মি আউট, এই দু ধরনেরই আমার ভাবে আমার কথা শোনা এনকারেজ মি টু এক্সপ্রেস মাই থটস টু অফেন, এই টাইপের স্বভাবের জন্য আমি আমার থটকে এক্সপ্রেস করতেই পারি না। টেক অল দিস বিজনেস টু ডু উইথ মাই লেগস, এবার লাইক অল দিস বিজনেস টু ডু উইথ মাই লেগস, এবার ওর পা নিয়ে শুরু করছে। আই হ্যাভ অলওয়েজ ওয়ান্টেড টু টেল দেম নট টু ওয়ারি, আমার পা নিয়ে ওরা প্রচন্ড চিন্তিত আর আমি ওদেরকে বলেছি যে চিন্তা করো না, আই মিন নানা অ্যান্ড মাই মাদার, that it did not have to be an issue for my two favorite people to fight over। দুজন ফেভারিট পিপল এটা নিয়েই ইস্যু বানিয়ে খালি ঝগড়া করে, বাট আই ডিডন্ট ওয়ান্ট ইদার টু বি টোল্ড নট টু রিপিট দ্যাট or it considered so funny that anyone would laugh at me until they cried, or it to be considered এটাকে নিয়ে এত অশান্তিরও দরকার নেই, আবার এটাকে কনসিডারও করা উচিত না এত ফানি দ্যাট এনিওয়ান উড লাফ অ্যাট মি আনটিল দে ক্রাইড, আবার এটা নিয়ে হাসা এত শুরু হয়ে যাবে যে তাদের চোখ দিয়ে জল বেরোবে। আফটার অল দে ওয়ার মাই লেগস, হ্যাঁ তো লেগস নিয়ে ওর হাসুক, আফটার অল শি উডন্ট লাইক ইজন্ট ইট দ্যাট সামবডি মেকিং ফান অফ আউট অফ হার legs। When I think back it now, those two, Nana and my mother, must have been discussing my legs from day I was born. What I'm sure is of that when I came out of the land of sweet soft silence into the world of noise and comprehension, the first topic I met was my legs. যখন নয়েজ আর কম্প্রিহেনশন নিয়ে এলাম তখন ফার্স্ট টপিকটা এটাই ছিল আমার লেগস। দ্যাট ডিসকাশন ওয়াজ রিপিটেড ভেরি রেগুলারলি। না না, আহ আহ, ইউ নো কায়া, I thank my God that your first child is female. But Kaya, I'm not sure about her legs. Hmm. And Nana would shake her head. Mommy, mother, why are you always complaining about Adjoa's legs? If you ask me, Nana, they are too thin, and I am not asking you. Nana has many voices. There is a special one she uses to shut everyone up. Some people have no legs at all. My mother would try again with all her courage. Ebar, that discussion was repeated regularly. Nana, you know, Kaya, I thank my God that your very first child is female. But Kaya, I'm not sure about her legs. Your, I thank my God that your first child is female. আর এই ডিসকাশনটা ভীষণ রেগুলারলি রিপিট হতো, দিয়ে বললো ফার্স্ট চাইল্ড কায়াটা ফিমেল ছিল, আমি জানি না তার পায়ের কি হবে। তখন নানা উড শেক হার হেড। মামি, ওয়াই আর ইউ অলওয়েজ কমপ্লেনিং অ্যাবাউট অ্যাডজোয়াস লেগস? ইফ ইউ আস্ক মি, নানা, দে আর টু থিন, আই এম নট আস্কিং ইউ। নানা বলছে ও ভীষণ সরু সরু পা, আর আমি তোমাকে জিজ্ঞেসও করছি না এর ব্যাপারে। Nana has many voices. There is a special one she uses to shut up everyone. বিভিন্ন ভাবে কথা বলে সে। কোনো কোনো সময় সে কিছু কিছু ব্যবহার করে সবাইকে চুপ করিয়ে দেওয়ার জন্য। Some people have no legs at all. My mother would try again with all her courage. কারোর কারো কোনো পাই থাকে না। But Adjoa has legs. Nana would insist, except that they are too thin. নানা এটা করতে ইনসিস্ট করবে Adjoa has legs. Nana would insist, said that they are too thin and too long for a woman. Kaya, listen. Kaya would her মায়ের নাম. Once in a while, but only once in a very long while, somebody decides, nature, a child's spirit mother, an accident happens and somebody gets born without arms or legs or both or set of limbs. And then let me touch wood, it is a sad business. And you know, such things are not talking about every day. But if any female child decides to come into this world with legs, then they might as well be legs. What kind of legs? And always at that point, I knew from her voice that my mother was weeping inside. আর কি ধরনের পা হ্যাঁ আমার মা সবসময় অন্তরে অন্তরে কাঁদতো নানা never heard such inside weeping নানা কখনোই তার ওই কান্নাটা শুনতে পেত না not that it would have stopped Nana even if she had heard it যদি শুনতেও পেত তাতেও সে চুপ করতো না which always surprised me because about almost everything else apart from my legs Nana is such a good grown up. In any case, what do I know about good grown ups and bad grown ups? আমি কি করে বুঝবো গুড গ্রোন আপ কে আর ব্যাড গ্রোন আপ কে হাউ কুড নানা বি আ গুড গ্রোন আপ when she cried on so about my legs রানা তাহলে কি করে গুড গ্রোন আপ হতে পারে যে আমার পা নিয়ে এত বলে and all I want to say is that I really liked Nana except for that আমি এটাই বলতে চাই যে এইটা বাদ দিয়ে নানাকে আমি পছন্দই করতাম না না as I keep saying, if any woman decides to come into this world with all of her two legs, then she should select legs that have meat on them, with good calves, because you are sure such legs would support solid hips, and a woman must have solid hips to be able to have children. এবার নানা বলছে আমি সবসময় বলি যে যদি woman decides to come into this world with her two legs যদি ঠিক করে যে দুটো পা নিয়ে আসবে তাহলে সেই পা গুলো যাতে মোটা সোটা হয় we have meat on them with good calves CLVS calves because সেই leg গুলো ছাড়া it won't support solid leaves and hips and a woman must have solid hips to be able to have children. Oh, mother, that is how my mother would answer very, very quietly, and the discussion would end or they would move on to something else. হয় এই ডিসকাশনটা এইভাবে শেষ হবে না অন্য কিছুতে কথা চলে যাবে. Sometimes Nana would pull in something about my father. Now, looking at such a man, we have to be humble and admit after all, God's children are many. এরকম লোককে দেখেও হাম্বল থাকতে হয় আর বলতে ও ভগবানের তো অনেক বাচ্চা আছে মানে his father deserves criticism, but still they don't criticize. After one's only daughter has insisted on marrying a woman like that, how after one's only daughter had insisted on marrying a man like that, you have to thank your God that the biggest problem you got later was having a granddaughter with spindly legs that are too long for a woman and too thin to be of any use. He, after one's only daughter had insisted on marrying a man like that মানে নানার একমাত্র মেয়ে ওই রকম একটা লোককে বিয়ে করতে চেয়েছিল who still have to thank God that the biggest problem you got later যেই কারণে পরের দিকে সে একটা ওরকম একটা ল্যাটার একটা গ্র্যান্ড ডটার পেলো যার প্রচন্ড সরু সরু পা the way she always added that beat about my father under her breath she probably thought that I didn't hear it but I always heard it এমন ভাবে বলতো মনে করতো যে আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছি না আমার বাবার ব্যাপারে কি বলছে কিন্তু আমি শুনতে পেতাম plus that is what always shut my mother up for good so that even if I had not actually heard the words once my mother looked like even her little courage was finished যাতে আমি শুনতে না পাই একটু যদি কিছু বলতে যেত তাও চুপ করে যেত I could always guess that Nana had added to the argument legs that have meat on them with good calves to support solid hips to be able to have children So I wished that one day I would see for myself the legs of any woman who had children. But in our village, that is not easy. The older women wear long wraps around all the time. আমি জানি না সবার লেগ খুব মোটা সোটা ছিল কিনা, কারণ সব women না লং র্যাপ পরতো. Perhaps if they let go bathe in the evening I could have checked. যদি তারা ওটা না পরে রিভারে গিয়ে চান করতো তাহলে আমি দেখতে পেতাম, but I never had the chance. I took a lot of begging just to get my mother and Nana to let me splash around in the swallow end of the river with my friends who were other little girls like me. আমি চাইতাম যে বেগ করতাম আমার কাছে to let me go splash around in the shallow end of the river with my friends, যাতে তাদের পাগুলো দেখতে পায়, কিন্তু পেতো না. For proper baths we used the small bath house behind our hut. বাথ হাউসে গিয়ে আমরা চান করতাম, তাই আমরা দেখতে পেতাম না. Therefore only naked female legs I have ever really seen are those of other little girls like me or older girls in the school, and those my mother and Nana, two pairs of legs which must surely belong to approved kind. এদের তো পা approved হবে because Nana gave birth to my mother and my mother gave birth to me. In my eyes, all my friends have got legs. They look like legs. But whether the legs have got meat on them to support the kind of hips that I don't know. Kind of hips that I don't know. According to the older boys and girls, the distance between our little village and the small town is about 5 kilometers. According to the older boys and girls, the distance between our little village and the small town is about 5 kilometers. I don't know what 5 kilometers mean. They always complain about how long it is to walk to school and back. But to me, we live in our village, and walking those kilometers didn't matter. School is nice. School is another thing Nana and my mother discussed often and appeared to have different ideas about. বলছে, according to older boys and girls, the distance between our little village and the small town is about 5 kilometers. The little village or small town distance টা মাত্র 5 kilometer. I don't know what 5 kilometers mean. They always complain about how it is to walk to school and back. কি কষ্ট এটাই বলতো. But to me, we live in our village and walking those kilometers didn't matter. School is nice. ভালোই লাগতো আমার অতটা হাঁটতে. School is another thing Nana and my mother discussed often and appeared to have different ideas about. স্কুল আর একটা জায়গা যেটা আমার মা আর নানা ইয়ে করতো, সেটা মানে ডিসকাস করতো ডিফারেন্ট আইডিয়াস. তাদের ডিফারেন্ট আইডিয়া ছিল. নানা থট ইট উড বি আ ওয়েস্টেজ অফ টাইম. I never understood what she meant. My mother seemed to know and disagreed. She kept telling Nana that that is my father, that is my mother, felt she was locked into some kind of darkness because she didn't go to school. So that if I, her daughter, could learn to write and read my own name and a little besides, perhaps be able to calculate some things on paper, that would be good. I could always marry later and maybe. Well, the school আরেকটা জায়গা Nana appeared to have different ideas about. Nana thought it would be wastage of time. I never understood what she meant. My mother seemed to know and disagreed. মা কিন্তু ওর পড়াশোনার ব্যাপারে ইচ্ছে ছিল স্কুলে পাঠাবার. She kept telling Nana that that is my mother, felt she was locked into some kind of darkness because she didn't go to the school. মায়ের মনে হতো যে সে কোনো একটা kind of darkness এ locked, কারণ সে মানে স্কুলে যেত না, সো যেতে পারেনি. So that I, her daughter, could learn to write and read my own name and a little besides, perhaps be able to calculate some things on paper. কিছু যাতে আমার নিজের নাম লিখতে পারি, কিছু জিনিস পড়তে পারি, আর আর কিছু ক্যালকুলেশন করতে পারি পেপারে, দ্যাট উড বি গুড. এটা ভালোই হবে. আই কুড অলওয়েজ ম্যারি লেটার অ্যান্ড মেবি নানা would just laugh. Maybe with the legs like hers she might as well go to school. ওই সরু সরু ঠ্যাং নিয়েও স্কুল যাবে. Running with our classmates on our small sports field and winning first place each time never seemed to me anything about to tell to anyone at home. ক্লাসমেটদের সাথে স্কুলের ফিল্ডে ছোটা, উইনিং ফার্স্ট প্লেস এভরি টাইম, এটা যে বলার কোনো দরকার আছে বাড়িতে, এটা আমি মনে করতাম না। This time it was different. I don't know how the teachers decided to let me run for the junior section of our school in the district games, but they did. জানি না কেন টিচারদের মনে হলো, ডিসাইড করলো যে to let me run for the junior section of our school in the district games. Junior section of our school কে district game এ যে পাঠালো, তার মধ্যে ওর নামটা ছিল। When I went, I don't know how the teachers decided to let me run for the junior section of our school in the district games. When I went home to tell my mother and Nana, they had not believed it at first. বিশ্বাস করলো না প্রথম গিয়ে মাকে আর নানাকে বলতে। So Nana had taken it upon herself to go and ask into it properly. নানা বলে যাও যাও ভালো করে গিয়ে জিজ্ঞেস করো। She came home to tell my mother that it is really true. It was one of my school's runners. Is that so? Exclaimed my mother. ও নানা নিজে নিজেই গেল জিজ্ঞেস করতে যে সত্যি কি ওকে সিলেক্ট করেছে নাকি। সো নানা হ্যাড টেকেন ইট আপন হারসেলফ টু গো অ্যান্ড আস্ক into it properly. She came home to tell my mother that it was really true. It was one of my school's runners. Is that so? Exclaimed my mother. I know her. Her mouth moved as though she was going to tell Nana. After all, there was a secret about me she couldn't expect to share with anyone. একটা মনে হলো যেন মা কোনো সিক্রেট জানতো যেটা সে সবাইকে বলতে চাইতো না। But then Nana herself looked so pleased. Out of surprise, my mother shut her mouth open. নানা খুব খুশি হলো, out of surprise সে মুখটা খুললো। In any case, since the first time they heard the news, এই প্রথমবার নিউজটা শুনলে, I often caught Nana staring at my legs with a strange look on her face. নানাকে সবসময় আমি দেখতাম মানে staring at my legs with strange look on her face, but still pretending like she was not looking. এমন একটা ঢং করতো যেন দেখতে পাচ্ছে না। All this week she has been washing my school uniform herself. সারা সপ্তাহ ধরে সে স্কুল ইউনিফর্ম ধুয়েছে। That is a big surprise and she didn't stop at that. থামতো না। She even went to Mr. Mencha's house and borrowed his charcoal pressing iron each time. সে থামতো না। Even went to Mr. Mencha's house, মেনসার বাড়ি যেত, and borrowed his charcoal pressing iron every time. চারকোল প্রেসিং আয়রনটা নিয়ে আসতো। মিস্টার মেনশা, MENSHSH, and she didn't stop at that, যে ইয়েটাকে, that is a big surprise. All this week she has been washing my school uniform herself. সারা সপ্তাহ ধরে আহ, আমার ইউনিফর্ম ধুতো। এই যে in any case, since the first time they heard the news, I have often caught Nana staring at my legs with strange look on her face. একটা অদ্ভুত মুখ নিয়ে ওর পায়াগুলো দেখে যেত। বাট স্টিল প্রিটেন্ডিং লাইক শি ওয়াজ নট লুকিং, দেখাতো এমন যে সে দেখছে না। দ্যাট ইজ আ বিগ সারপ্রাইজ, এটা খুব সারপ্রাইজিং ছিল। দ্যাট শি ডিডন্ট স্টপ অ্যাট দ্যাট, শি ইভেন ওয়েন্ট টু মিস্টার মেনশাস হাউস অ্যান্ড বরোড হিজ চারকোল প্রেসিং আয়রন ইচ টাইম। প্রত্যেকবার তার মিস্টার মেনশার হাউস থেকে MENSAH মেনসাস হাউসের থেকে চারকোল প্রেসিং আয়রনটা নিয়ে আসতো, কাম ব্যাক হোম উইথ ইট, and ironed the uniform until if I had been the uniform I would have said aloud that I had had enough. যদি আমি ইউনিফর্মটা হতাম তাহলে আমি বলতাম থাক থাক আর আমাকে আয়রন করতে হবে না। Wearing my school uniform this week has been very nice. খুব ভাল লাগলো এই সপ্তাহে স্কুল ইউনিফর্ম পরে। At the parade the first afternoon it caught the rays of sun and shone brighter than everybody else's uniform. প্রথম আফটারনুনের প্যারেডেতে রেজ অফ দ্য সানে আমার স্কুল ইউনিফর্মটা খুব বাকিদের থেকে ব্রাইটার লাগছিল। আই এম শিওর নানা স দ্যাট টু অ্যান্ড মাস্ট হ্যাভ লাইক ইট, নিশ্চয়ই নানার ভালো লেগেছিল। Yes, she had been coming into town with us every afternoon of this district sports week. প্রত্যেক আফটারনুনে আসতো ডিস্ট্রিক্ট স্পোর্ট উইকে, প্রতি আফটারনুনে এসে দেখতো। Each afternoon she had pulled one set of fresh old clothes from the big brass bowl to wear. এক এক সেট fresh old clothes বার করে পরতো, and those old clothes are always so stiffly starched you can hear the clock creak when she passes by. এত বেশি স্টার্চ দেওয়া থাকতো ক্লোথস গুলোয়, মার দেওয়া থাকতো আর কি, স্টার্চড, স্টিফলি স্টার্চড, যে ইউ ক্যান এনিবডি কুড হিয়ার দ্য ক্লক ক্রিক, CREAK, ক্রিক মানে আওয়াজ করতো, ক্লথটা যে আওয়াজ করতো when she passes by মানে when she passed by, যখনই বেরোতো। She had pulled one set of fresh old clothes stiffly from the big brass bowl, BOWL, to wear, and those old clothes are always so stiffly starched that anybody could hear the cloth creak when she passed by. But she walked way behind the school children, as though she was on her own way to some place else. স্কুল চিলড্রেনদেরকে সুন্দর পেরিয়ে চলে আসতো ওইভাবে। Yes, I have won every race I ran in for my school. যা রেসেই ছুটেছি আমার স্কুলে সব সময় সব রেসে জিতেছি, and I have won the cup for the best all round junior athlete. বেস্ট অলরাউন্ড জুনিয়র অ্যাথলিট হিসেবে আমি কাপ পেয়েছি। Yes, Nana said that she didn't care if such things are not done. নানা বলতো যে এগুলো না করলেও কিছু যেতে আসতো না, she would do it. You know what she did? She cried the gleaming cup on her back. She carried the gleaming cup on her back. পেছনে ব্যাক মানে পিঠে সেই গ্লিমিং কাপটা নিয়ে সে হেঁটেছিল, লাইক দে ডু উইথ বেবিস অ্যান্ড আদার ভেরি প্রেশাস থিংস, যেমন নিজের বেবি বা খুব প্রেশাস জিনিসকে মানুষ পিঠে নিয়ে ঘোরে, অমনি ওটাকেও পিঠে নিয়ে, গ্লিমিং কাপটাকেও নিয়ে পিঠে করে ঘুরেছিল। All this time not taking the trouble to walk by herself, and this time not taking the trouble to walk by herself, হেঁটে হেঁটে যায়নি, we arrived in our village. She entered our compound to show the cup to my mother before going to give it to the headmaster. প্রথম আমার মাকে গিয়ে দেখিয়েছিল হেডমাস্টারকে কাপটা দেওয়ার আগে। ও grown ups are so strange. Nana is right now carrying me on her knee and crying softly. আমাকে হাঁটুর উপর বসিয়ে নানা আজ কাঁদছে, muttering that thin legs can also be useful. বলতো আমার নানা বলছে এই রোগা রোগা পা গুলো এত ইউজফুল হতে পারে, thin legs can also be useful, that even though some legs don't have much meat on them to carry heaps, they can run. Thin legs can run, then who knows? I don't know too much about such things, but that's how I was feeling and thinking all along, that surely one should be able to, I don't know how, know too much about such things, আমি জানি না এত কিছুর ব্যাপারে, but that is how I was feeling and thinking all along, কিন্তু এইভাবেই ভাবছিলাম that surely one should be able to do other things with legs as well as have them, because they can support hips that make babies. আরো কিছু করার থাকে লেগে, শুধুই বেবি মানে করা না, that one should be able to do other things with legs as well as have them because they can support hips that make babies. Except that I was afraid of saying that sort of thing aloud. এই কথাটা বলা সাহস ছিল না যে babies rearing, other than rearing children also, legs can have some use in this life. Except that I was afraid of saying that sort of thing aloud, because someone would have told me never to repeat such words. কখনো এরকম কথা উচ্চারণ করবে না, সবাই সবসময় বলেছে। Or else they would have laughed so much at what I said, they would have cried. হাসতো কানতো আমার কথা শুনে। It's much better this way, to have acted it out to show them, although I could not have planned it. As for my mother, she has been speechless as usual. Struggle মানে to experience difficulty and make a great effort in order to do something, screaming, to cry or say something loudly and usually on a high note, especially because of strong emotions, confusion, to mix up someone's mind or ideas, or to make something difficult to understand. Comprehension, the ability to understand. Discuss, to talk about a subject with someone and tell each other your ideas. Weeping, the act of crying. Granddaughter, the daughter of your son or daughter. Calves, CLVS, calves, especially a domestic cow or bull in its first year. Splash, if a liquid splashes, if you splash a liquid, it falls on hit someone. Disagree, to have not the same opinion or idea. Strange, unusual, unexpected, or difficult to understand, but difficult to comprehend, pretending to behave as if something is true when you know that it is not. Borrowed, take and use with the intention of returning it. Athlete, a person who is very good at sports or physical exercise, especially one who competes in organized events. Precious, great value because of being rare, expensive, or important. Afraid, feeling fear or feeling worry about the possible results of a particular situation. Acted, to behave in the stated way. Speechless, unable to speak. Parade, all going in the same direction, usually as a part of public celebration. In which village is the girl who can sit? Hasodzi. What distinguishes Hazardzi from other villages in the story? Its fertile soil. Who's the narrator of the story? Adjoa. How old is the narrator of the story? 7 years. Who's the mother of Adjoa? Mami. What is the other name of Mami in the story? Kaya. What is the relation between Nana and Mami? Grandmother, mother. No, sorry, mother, daughter. Nana, Mami, mother, daughter. Which of these amuses Adjoa? No one explains to her why she shouldn't repeat certain things. What do Nana and Kaya constantly argue at Joa's legs? What of this set of characters are Arjua's favorite people? Kaya and Nana. The land of sweet, soft silence. What does this literary device best exemplify? Alliteration. Soft, sweet, soft, silence. Same repetition of S word. Out of the land of sweet, soft silence. What is the meaning of this expression? Being born. According to Adjoa, what did Nana and Mummy discuss when she was born? Her legs. Which of these characters are said to have many voices? Nana. Why is Adjoa confused about what to say and what not to say? She lacks the proper language to speak them out. What kind of legs does Nana believe every woman should have? Legs that have meat on them. Why was Nana worried about Adjoa's legs? He believes that women with thin legs cannot give birth. What does Nana believe about thin legs? Of no use. Which of these Nana used to shut Kaya up in their arguments? Issues of Adjoa's father. Which of these does Nana use to shut Kaya up in their arguments? Issues of Adjoa's father. Why was it difficult for Adjoa to see the legs of the older woman who had children? They wore long wrap around all the time. What were Nana's initial thoughts about education? School is a vestige of time. What is Adjoa's attitude towards school? Enthusiasm. Why does Kaya feel that she is locked into some kind of darkness? She didn't go to school. That is the reason. What was Nana's reaction to Adjoa's representing her school in district games? Disbelief. বিশ্বাস করেনি. What did Nana borrow from Mr. Minsha's house during the district sports? A charcoal pressing iron. The big brass bowl. What literary device is used here? Alliteration. What did Nana do when Adjoa won the best round junior athlete? She carried the cup on her back. Where does Adjoa come from? The central region of Ghana. They are too thin, and I am not asking you who made this statement, Nana. You can hear the cloth creak when she passes by. What does this statement exemplify? Onomatopoeia. Because sound, cloth making creaking sound. Next, এই যে একটা extract আছে নানাস, পুরো extractটাই. Who's the speaker of the above text? Where was she born? The speaker of the above text is a little girl of 7 years old. She was born in Hasodzi, a very big village in the central region of Ghana, Africa. Who is Nana? Who is Mami? Nana is the grandmother of the speaker and Mami is the mother of the speaker. Though these two get along well, sometimes they argue about Arjuna and her thin legs. Though these two get along well, sometimes they argue about Arjuna and her thin legs. What does Arjuna think to be a serious problem? Why? Arjuna is a little girl who has many thoughts buzzing in her head. She wants to find answers to these thoughts or wants to share her thoughts with someone, but she does not have the proper language to speak to them. To her, this is a serious problem because it is difficult to decide whether to keep quiet or say them and get laughed at. Not that it is easy to get any grown up to listen to you. Why? According to the speaker, grown ups do not care much about what the kids are thinking or what they want to say. Kids' mind thus keeps searching for answers to the questions which trouble them all the time. But they do not have any listener. That is why the speaker said those above mentioned words. Next, at Joa, you say what? Who's the speaker here? Who's the person spoken to here? The speaker is old lady Nana, who is the grandmother of the speaker. The speaker spoken this to Adjo, a little girl of 7 years old. Why does Nana laugh and laugh and laugh? Nana does not pay attention to what her granddaughter Adjoa has to say. And when somehow she listens to her, she thinks those to be baseless and useless and only laughs out aloud. Why does the narrator have to struggle to catch Nana's attention? She laughs out aloud so hard that even tears roll down her cheeks. Why does the narrator have to struggle to catch Nana's attention? The narrator is a kid and she also has various things in mind to which she wants to find answer. She wants to discuss things with her elders, but neither Nana nor Mami listens much to those, especially Nana, who does not pay heed to her words. That is why she has to struggle much. What is the above mentioned passage about? The above mentioned passage is about Adjua's thoughts, which do not get priority from Nana, her grandmother. She's a kid, and so she has many unsolved queries in her mind. And when she expresses those to Nana, she is mocked at by her. Nana laughs at her and ignores her. Why are legs important in this story? In the story, Adjoa's legs are too thin. Legs are important because her grandma thinks that those legs are meant to raise a family. When Adjoa is selected to run for the junior athletes, she becomes the best junior athlete. She realizes that legs can be useful in many other ways. What is the role of women in the story? According to Nana, the role of women is to create a family and to take care of the children. At the end of the story, it has been established that women can contribute to the society in many ways. Why does Nana criticize the narrator's legs? Nana worries that narrator's legs are too thin and that she doesn't have good legs and hopes to have children later. Clearly, this is an example of the society values created for women to behave only like child bearers. Nana worries that narrator's legs are too thin. She doesn't have good legs and hopes to have children so that she could bear children comfortably. Clearly, this is an example of the society that has the misconception that women must behave only like child bearers. What is the limitations of the narrator's abilities? If anything, the narrator's abilities when it comes to running free, the narrator from the traditional এটা বোঝা যাচ্ছে না limitations মানে maybe the narrator is not uh, does not have the ability to give birth. This might be some people have no legs at all. Who's the speaker here? Who's the speaker spoken to? Here the speaker is Mami, whose another name is Kaya. She is the mother of Adjoa. The person spoken to is Nana, the grandmother of Adjoa. According to Nana, what is an accident? According to Nana, when a child is born without arms or legs or both set of limbs, then that is an accident because the nature, who's also called a child spirit mother, decides that disabilities to be the future of the unborn child. Write a few words about the character of Mami. Mami has not much role to play in the story. She is a hesitant and speechless character who remains static in the whole story. She loves Adjua and supports her dreams, but when it comes to save her from disheartened comments of her own mother, she turns timid. When it comes to save her from the disheartened comments of her own mother, she turns timid. Why does Mami and Nana argue? Nana is not pleased with the thin legs of her granddaughter. Adjua, because she thinks that a woman should have strong legs that would help her when she would give birth to a child. But Mami supports her daughter and does not have any issues with her legs. That is why they argue to state each other's point of view. Why is Mami locked into some kind of darkness? Mami felt locked into some kind of darkness because she never had the opportunity to go to the school and explore the unknown. She felt sad about this and always regretted. Why did Mommy want her daughter to go to the school? Yes, Mommy always wanted her daughter to attend school because she wanted her to learn and explore the unknown. She wanted Adjua to have freedom of choices, which she did not, but she did not have the opportunity to get. Which she never had the opportunity to get those things in her life, and that's why she wanted Adjua to get those freedom. Why, according to the story, the school was a vestige of time for women. As per social stigma existing in the society, women were meant only to create a family and take care of them. Education was not important. African countries were under colonial rule for a long time, and the colonials did not take any effective step for their education. So, after colonization, the women especially were stuck to their earlier condition. So, colonial African countries were under colonial rule for a long time, and the colonizers did not take effective step for their education. Give a brief note on the character of Nana after reading the story The Girl Who Can. Nana is a mother, is the mother, mummy, and grandmother of Adjoa, mother of Mami and the of Kaya, and the sorry, Nana is the mother of Kaya and grandmother of Adjoa. She is an authoritative woman who loves to silence people around her in her own exquisite style. She knows how to make people dumb. She thinks that she's the most knowledgeable person in the house and then often argues with mommy when it comes to Adjoa. Adjoa's thin legs displease as as she thinks that this stresses their incapability to hold a solid figure for a woman given birth. But Adjoa makes her realize that woman's body has more to do than just giving birth to babies. She appreciates Adjoa's skill as a runner at the end of the story and changes her view towards life. Summary. Adjoa is a 7-year-old girl who's the protagonist of the story. She's an African girl born in the village of Hassordzee. It is a fertile land, fairly fertile land compared to the rest of Africa. Hassordzee is a fairly fertile land compared to the rest of Africa. Though she is naive, she interrogates the naive. She interrogates the societal constraints a child, especially a girl, experiences while uttering words in public. She interrogates the societal constraints of a female child. Although she is naive, yet she questions the societal constraints that a child experiences throughout, that a female child experiences. Her mind is constantly busy in issues and Her mind is constantly busy in issues and concerns too intelligible for a girl of her age, which leads to the three generations in the story. Adjua, Mami, and Nana facing a conflict of opinions on a usual basis. There is a sign of the father, but there is a hint that he is not a good man, or possibly he has abandoned them. Nana is authoritative and has a firm and typical view about a woman's role in the society. That is to be physically fit to rear healthy children. On the other hand, Mami, addressed as Kaya by Nana, often comes out as a speechless character মানে quiet character who is incapable of raising her voice against her mother. Sorry, subservient character. Subservient character who is incapable of raising her voice against her mother. Adjoa is different. She harbors questions about the workings of the society, but opts to keep them safe in the treasure of her mind for two reasons. As she harbors question about the workings of the society, but keeps her mind keeps her mouth shut for two reasons. Primarily to avoid causing distress to her grandmother, and also to be at bay from becoming a butt of jokes. Primarily to avoid Primarily to avoid causing distress to her grandmother, and also to be at bay from becoming a butt of jokes. Adjoa's thin legs trouble Nana because she thinks that this traces their incapability to hold a solid figure or a woman giving birth. Adjoa's physicality couples with her social movements like going to school when Nana also looks down on. বোঝা যাচ্ছে না। Her constant criticism about Adjoa's occasional faces, Mummy's snippets of courage, SNIPPETS, snippets of courage, who attempts to argue in support of Adjoa. However, a change of perception creeps in when Adjoa reveals her selection for a district race. A change of perception creeps in when Adjoa reveals her selection for a district race. Nana's behavior suddenly alters and she puts in efforts to wash her granddaughter's uniform and iron it neatly. She accompanies Adjoa for the entire week of the race in new attires which she wears only for special occasions. When Adjoa bags the trophy, she shows it around the neighborhood like a proud grandparent with tears of joy. The story ends the story ends with a happy realization of both Nana and Adjoa that lives serve more purposes to a woman than just giving birth. Through this story, the author finally shows the readers that a woman's identity is not restricted to being a mother and a wife. It should also declare her achievements, in this case, as an athlete. Throughout this story, the author finally shows the readers that a woman's identity is not restricted to being a mother and a wife. Should always declare the achievements in case as an athlete. Main theme of the story. In this story, we can see three generations. Adjoa is the narrator who is the youngest member of the family, and Nana, the grandmother, is the oldest. Adjoa has things in mind for which she does not get any clear answers. There is communication anxiety with her grandmother due to different set of beliefs. মানে two different set of beliefs are there, three generations, and they have different set of beliefs. The grandmother believes in the traditional worldview that sees a woman in the light of motherhood alone compared to she believes that a woman is meant only to bear children. Adjoa who wish to add more feathers to their cap. Mami and Adjoa wish to add more feathers to their cap. Nana conventionally can be linked to her lack of education and orthodox upbringing. However, Adjoa is born in a post-colonial era that has modern outlook towards life, and so it is evident for the two worlds to clash. Adjoa হচ্ছে born in post-colonial era and has modern outlook towards life, so it is evident that the two worlds would clash. But the clash results positively, where we can witness a change in Nana after realizing psychological change in Nana realizing the real capabilities of a woman. Running symbolizes freedom, and freedom comes freedom, and her mother grandfather didn't have. Adjoa is not only able to build his identity as an athlete but also to move away from the rigid structure of her society. Thus, she runs towards an optimistic and bright future by running away from traditional and stereotype past. The story The Girl Who Can is the story of a young girl and her struggle to break free the typical concept of society towards women. She is a girl from modern era and her grandmother is from a different era. Therefore, their thoughts often get clashed. Her grandmother Nana believes in traditional worldview that she sees a woman in the light of motherhood alone, compared to Mummy and Adjoa who wish to think differently. Both of them try to make Nana believe that women have other abilities apart from giving birth. However, Adjoa proves herself to Nana as an athlete and destroys her typical thinking about women. She shows her that she can. She shows that her legs, though thin, can overcome all obstacles and reach the destination perfectly. Thus, it can be said that the story cherishes a woman's success while showing the different sides of her abilities. Therefore, the title is apt.